Alabama continues to recruit two of the top wide receivers in the country, one from Alabama and one from Mississippi. And both of these guys are recent additions to the Polynesian Bowl, which is one of the top high school football games in the country, out in Hawaii. We're going to talk about both of those guys, Cederian Morgan and Tristen Keys, and Alabama's search to try to add to their wide receiver room in this upcoming recruiting class. Bama basketball lost a game to Auburn, didn't play their best, but Coleman Coliseum was rocking. Fans did a great job. It just wasn't Bama's day. Doesn't mean it's the end of anything. It just means that it's a game that Alabama lost, and it's also a measuring stick game for Nate Oates and his team. So we'll talk about both of those things right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, thumbs up. Roll Tide. Let's go. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being here as we cover Alabama football on a daily basis. All right, let's talk about a couple of guys that Alabama is hopeful for that are playing in the Polynesian Bowl next January. But it's a big deal. You get the invite, you get to play in that game, you get to be part of something special, and it's the top high school players in the in the country that get invited. And there's two guys on that list that are worth talking about because Alabama is hot for them to join the program. First off, Cederian Morgan from Benjamin Russell High School, Alexander City, Alabama. This is a guy that a lot of the experts feel like will be a consensus five-star wide receiver. He's the number 10 player in the country. Rivals is the only service right now that has him as a five-star, but On3, 24/7, and ESPN have him as a four-star. And 24/7 has him, as I mentioned, as the number 10 player nationally. On3 has him at 70. Those ratings will obviously be upgraded. Now, Auburn is Bama's biggest rival to get this guy. And he's being recruited by Jamarcus Shepard, obviously wide receivers coach. He's visited Alabama. He'll continue to do that. Auburn's after him as well. And I'm telling you right now, this is the kind of guy that Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer offense would love to have. He's part of the 26 class. He's a wide receiver at 6'5", 210 pounds, speed, able to jump, and is, obviously the player that Alabama wants. He's taken 5 visits to Tuscaloosa, and the last time he was there was for Junior Day. Look, this is a guy that Alabama is very focused on, not only because of what he brings to the table. They sent their whole coaching staff to visit him. Okay, everybody showed up. But they've got to win these in-state battles with Auburn. And you start to worry, even though Bama had a really good recruiting class last year, that if you don't take care of those in-state guys, and they only got 2 of them last year, that think that you're going to start losing out recruiting over the course of time, and that's not something that Alabama wants. So we'll see what happens here, but he's going to the Polynesian Bowl. He's someone to keep an eye on. This is an exciting player, and this is an in-state battle, Alabama-Auburn, old school Alabama-Auburn battle. The other guy that's going to be there is another wide receiver, and this guy's a 5-star wide receiver with every service but On3. But nationally, he's a guy that's ranked in the top 16 on every major site. And, of course, I'm talking about Tristen Keys. And he's another guy that Alabama, at 6'2", 185 pounds, would love to get at that wide receiver spot. Ole Miss is after him hot and heavy. Ole Miss last year was able to wrestle Caleb Cunningham away from Alabama. He had committed Ole Miss, then Alabama, and then ended up at Ole Miss. Jamarcus Shepard in another battle in the Magnolia State right now. Auburn's after Keys as well, and so is Ole Miss, as I mentioned before. Tennessee's trying to get in that battle as well, but everybody in the country would love to have this guy. And he's another guy that'll be in that Polynesian Bowl. He is taking his visits right now all over the place. But for Alabama, again, it's all about trying to impress this guy and get him on campus to Tuscaloosa. He was there for junior day. We talked about that already. But Jamarcus Shepard, you want to be able to go out and win those battles. They've done a great job of recruiting, but in the backyard, Bama, since Coach DeBoer has taken over, has won some and lost some. Nick Saban used to win most of them. And so that's what Alabama's trying to get back to with these two guys. So two guys to keep an eye on, two guys that could make a difference in this recruiting class, two guys that Alabama will continue to bring on campus. You'll see coaches going to visit them after the dead period. And, you're talking about two of the elite wide receivers in that 26 class. And both guys are in the mix for Alabama, and we'll see what happens there. All right, finally, I wanted to talk about the basketball game. And I know it was disappointing to a lot of you guys, just kind of looking back at it. I just thought that, honestly, Auburn shot better than Alabama. They won 94-85 in Tuscaloosa. They outscored Alabama 42-33 in the first half. But it was more than that. Auburn came out ready to go. They scored 9 points quick on Alabama. And they never looked back. Bama, Mark Sears, didn't have one of his typical games. He did score 18 points, but it felt like, he was in there. Grant Nelson scored 12 points in the game, but Bama just did not shoot the ball well enough from three. Only 19%, 5 of 26. It just felt like one of those games. They were 38% from the floor. That the ball just seemed to drop for Auburn. It's the first of who knows how many meetings with these teams. Bama will have their chance at the end of the regular season to play them in Auburn, and they have a tough schedule. It's not the end of the world. And if you're going to lose one of these games, I'd rather lose the one now than the one closer to the tournament or in the tournament. So, but take your hats off to Auburn. I thought they played really their best game of the season. They made a bunch of shots. And and Alabama missed some shots, and it cost them. When you're Alabama, you got to shoot 30 from three, and they shot 19%, and that's why they didn't win the game. So, I didn't feel like it was coaching, and I thought that the fans did a great job at Coleman Coliseum. Showed up, intense, loud. Fluffopotamus would have been very proud of the fan interaction, but it's only one game, and I know it was a big game. And I know it meant a lot, but you know what? It's basketball. It's still just about just past the middle of the SEC schedule. A lot of basketball left. I don't think anything that has been determined or not. Alabama could still win the SEC, but they've got a gauntlet coming up. We'll see how they respond after a tough loss to Auburn. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. A couple things I want to tell you is, first off, we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. The Timeout Sports Lounge is your place to go. You can go there and Vegas-style betting. Put your money down at the sports book. You got table games and slots at Golden Moon Casino and Silver Star. Blue Oyster Cult's going to be there next month, and you love them. Don't Fear the Reaper. And Dancing Rabbit, the Azaleas, the Oaks, two awesome golf courses. And, Philip M. Steakhouse, go in, do it the right way. Mom and Them's Restaurant, the Circle Bar, lots of really cool, fun getaway stuff over there at Pearl River Resort. And the last thing I want to say is you pimp out that man cave. The Super Bowl's over, but how about Devontae Smith, Heisman Heights, his Daniel Moore print, 25% off when you use our promo code Bama Tailgate now that he's a Super Bowl champion. And Crimson Redemption, which is the one with Jalen Hurts scoring the touchdown to beat Georgia, 25% off at checkout. Bama Tailgate, newlifeart.com, man. Take advantage of that. It's a good deal. All right, guys, thanks for hanging. Roll Tide and keep your heads up, man. It's one basketball game, not the end of the world, just the beginning of the gauntlet that this team's going to go through before they make their run in the NCAA tournament. Roll Tide.
River Resort.